Yes, Linkwarden may do some of what the Internet Archive does, but there's also a couple of other extra functions that it does perform. So I think before we jump into it, let's just cover what I think are some of the higher level differentiators that Linkwarden has got. So yes, the first point there, preserves useful web pages and documents from link rot. That is primarily what the Internet Archive is also doing as far as the web pages are concerned. And link rot, of course, being pages that are here today that you've maybe shared in a social media post or referenced for some or other thesis or whatever the case is. And in a year's time or 10 years' time, those pages are gone. So one of the differences already probably is going to be documents. You can upload PDFs and a couple of other things to Linkwarden as well. So it's not just limited to web pages. And then, of course, also what it's creating on the fly in the background, and we'll have a look when we look at the settings. You can determine which you want it to create or not, but it's going to create a full page screenshot of the original page. It will also create a full page HTML, in other words, something that you can open with a browser and browse up and down on and so on, and click links that possibly still do work. And of course, it will also create a PDF format as well. This is not 100%. It does, of course, depend on the website. Some websites with pop-ups and other things I have had, creating sometimes problems with regards to that. But I'd say about 90 to 95% of all the links that I've saved are working perfectly well, and I've got these alternative media sort of generated on the fly and ready to use. Then the other big difference really is organizing your links with collections and sub-collections and tags. So you've got a whole way of sorting and organizing your links, which you're not going to necessarily have with the Internet Archive, because that really is just grouped by page with regards to version changes over time. So this creates a whole sort of a navigable type of interface and way of working with your various links. Now, you can self-host it, and I'm going to show my self-hosted instance, but the other alternative is they also offer a cloud hosting. In other words, just sign up and get going. I think there's a 14-day trial period that you can test it, but they offer for about $3 per month. That's if you pay annually, or $4 per month if you're paying monthly. And that's actually a pretty reasonable price. You get up to 30,000 links included in that, which is really honestly more than enough, I think, for most people. But then, of course, you've got everything sort of wrapped and rolled into one, I would imagine, including the AI and the various other sort of additional functionalities that you'd have to activate yourself on the self-hosted instance. So the cloud hosting is possibly well worth considering for those that are not doing their own self-hosting. Of course, it is an open source product, so you are free to examine the code and see how it works and modify it and fork it if you want to. It is privacy respecting, and I suppose especially for those that want to self-host it, there isn't a problem. On the cloud side, I'd say the same goes. Their business model is they are charging you to host it and provide the service. So they're not profiting off you through adverts and mining and selling your data and so on. So on both regards, privacy respecting is applicable. Then you can use it as individual, as I'm using it, but it's also ideal for teams. So you can have a couple of people doing research or whatever the case is, school projects or whatever, and also sort of amalgamating and consolidating various links again into those collections and sub-collections and so on. So it works just as well with teams. And for me, what was quite important is that you can share it publicly as well. And we'll obviously look at that a little bit later, but you can share a link to a specific collection that you've got or a sub-collection, and that will be a web page link showing you all the various links with the summary and the tags and that sort of thing, searchable and so on. Also, interestingly, people can subscribe to an RSS link per collection or per sub-collection that if you've advertised that RSS link. And that's quite nice because it means people don't have to necessarily keep coming back to visit your page the whole time. They can use any RSS reader to see, oh, you've just shared another 2 new links, and they can just quickly see what the links are. So I find that also a very, very useful feature. And then, of course, you've also got something like this third-party browser bookmark sync, Flockus. It's a third party. It's not associated directly with Linkwarden, but what they offer is, and Linkwarden is just one of the options that you've got, but essentially what they will be helping do is if you install that extension, it's going to help synchronize the bookmarks on your browser with your Linkwarden bookmark collection. I didn't actually opt for this. I've sort of opted to keep mine separate at this stage, but it is an option for those that want to sort of integrate it with their bookmarks. And this can be useful if you want to keep and use those bookmarks as you move between different browsers, maybe if you swap browsers. So that is something of interest as well, I think, to those that want to do that. And then as far as the mobile apps go, I'm using Android again at the moment, so I don't have any experience with the iOS app. But what I can say is that up to a couple of months back, most of the apps had required you to set up webhooks and some other integrations sometimes within the app to make it work. And it was a little bit complicated for people. I did get it to work, but what I found a very, very effective application at the moment is called LinkDroid for Linkwarden, and it is on the F-Droid store. So it's not on the Google Play Store, but it does an excellent job of really seamlessly integrating and sharing links from whatever you're browsing on your phone or your tablet and so on through into Linkwarden. I'll demo that a bit later, but what we can actually just look at is just quickly have a look at the page, and you can see what it looks like on the F-Droid store if you're looking for that app. So if we look at the F-Droid store, you can see the address up the top there is the web address for it, but obviously in the app you can just use the F-Droid app on Android. This is the mobile app that does a very good job of integrating, as I said, with Linkwarden, and I will show it a little bit later. You can just get an idea of what it actually looks like to use it. But I think let's move on to Linkwarden itself, and we can just get an idea of how it actually works. So this is my self-hosted setup. And this is the dashboard view. If you click at the top left here, you'll see this should be the default. I've already got 1,954 links saved in here. So I've actually imported a lot of my bookmarks that I've been carrying over the years between different browsers into Linkwarden. And I also brought in my stuff from Wallabag. It's got an import for Wallabag as well. That's why there's actually quite a lot of links here. I've got 92 collections, and well, they'll actually be sorted under here. You can see on the left-hand side. This is essentially, you'll see it says here bookmarks bar. These were essentially all the bookmarks that I'd saved inside my browser, really. That's what was imported here. But that is the collections. The tags, I've got 143 different tags, and you can see some of the tags down here on the left-hand side as well. The AI, artificial intelligence that they can activate, will give you automated tagging. I prefer to do my tagging manually. So, it just sort of keeps the tags under control, really, should I say. But you can see if I click here on alternative 2, it's going to bring up just the bookmarks that I've got tagged with alternative 2 or books or relating to, let me just have a look here, electric vehicles, free and open source software. But that's really how you're going to use the tags. And you could also pin a couple of, or favorite a couple of links as well. So you see I've got one favorited there at the moment. And here at the top you can move to pinned. There is the one that I have got pinned. You can click on all links, and you can click on all collections. So collections are generally the ones that you've created within Linkwarden to share, and we'll sort of come back to that just now. We can have a look here under this pinned one, what you're typically going to see when you've saved a link. So what you're going to notice is there is a sort of a thumbnail at the background here. It's got a little icon here relating to sort of the website, whatever the website page icon was. It brings in by default whatever the caption or the heading was for the page. It shows you the link. It tells you if it is part of a collection, and it tells you the date there that you saved it. Obviously, clicking here, you can pin it. The other thing that's interesting is here, if you look at these little icons, you'll see there it's saved a web page, HTML. It has saved an image version, a screenshot of the page. It's saved a PDF version, and it's also saved a readable version. By default, I've got this. If I click on here, it's going to open the readable version. So we can now actually click on one of these really and jump into the view where we can see what's actually happening. So if I click here on this readable view, This is in essence just like you get those sort of quick view, non-distraction extensions for web pages. It's that type of view. It's really just a browsable view that you can read, complete with images, everything that it's brought in from the web page. But something of interest though in the readable view is this highlighting. So if you click on here, you'll see there is something that I've highlighted. You can change the color of the text. You can choose any other text, say, this over here, and you can highlight that as well, or you can click over there and you can delete the highlight. But that is just a feature that you've got on the readable view. It's great for summarizing things, or looking things, or quickly looking at why you've saved a particular page. At the top, we can still see the icon view here of the alternative views for this page. So if I was to click now on the screenshot one, it's going to show you that as a screenshot of the actual page, and it does the whole long screenshot. We can also go to the HTML version of the page. It might not take you to anywhere if the links have broken, so just bear that in mind. And then of course you've also got the PDF view. So this will be the PDF view of the page. So now the PDF view, depending on your browser, might offer you some additional features. So, I'm using Firefox, and you'll see here already I can add a signature on the top right, and I can do highlighting, I can do text, and these are really browser features, if you've got a PDF viewer functionality built in. So those are really the main views that you've got of your saved bookmark. Let's just go back. If I was now to take this bookmark, the one other thing you can of course do still is, if you click the three dots over here, you'll see the menu gives you the option to unpin, to show link details, to edit the link, and to delete the link. So I could show the link details, and that just gives you a summary here. You can of course click over there to copy the original link. You can see where it's saved already, in what collection, what tags it's got, what the description was, and of course which are the preserved formats. It also does save, by the way, I'll show you in the options just now, there's an option also to tick on to save it to archive.org website. Then if you look over here at the top, you'll see there is also an option between view and edit over there. So you can go straight into an edit view. And this means now you could edit the name that you see, which is what appears over here. You could edit the link if you needed to. If you needed to repair it and there's a newer link. You could change the collection it belongs to. You could also add additional tags if you wanted to. And you can edit the description over there. The other important thing possibly is if, and this does sometimes happen, it doesn't always upload a nice image of the page. If that is the case, there is an option up here to upload the banner, and you can click on that. If you've saved a screenshot of it maybe, or something, or an image that you want to have as the banner for the back of the link, which is what you see over here behind the icon, then that is where you're going to do that. And of course then, you'll just save it again and it updates the link. So that in essence really is the editing and viewing of the options around the link. If we were to look at links like, say, the public shares over here, you'll see when you've created a public share, you can obviously give it a title, but you can also give it a whole description over here, what it's about. You can create sub-collections, which you can click into to get into. And you've got the various links that you've created. These are all the links that and I'll put a link to this particular page, so you're welcome to go and have a look through some of the links that I've saved and I've shared. But let's just have a look how you create then a public share, or how you create a collection and a sub-collection. So no matter where you are actually standing, this little drop down is always where you go to create a new link, or to upload a file, or to create a new collection. So if we look at, say, new link, all you're going to really do is paste the actual link of the web page in there, You can choose where you want to save it. Generally, I save, say, under public shares. And here under more options, so you can give it your own name if you want to. Otherwise, it's going to auto-generate it from the page over there. Obviously, you can choose your tags. And I generally either put my own summary in here, or I paste an excerpt in from the web page itself. And then you just say create link. And that is as easy as that. If you want to create a collection, you're going to say over there, new collection. You're just going to give it a name and a description. So that description is what you're going to see above here, that long sort of summary of the description. And if you are standing in a collection like this, you can also click on these three dots, this hamburger menu in the top right, and you'll see obviously you can edit, you can share, you can create a sub collection, and that's where you're going to create a sub collection, and these over here will appear. Now, there is a downside to this. This navigates perfectly for me, but what you're going to see is when you go to the public shared page, you won't see these, and that's rather unfortunate. So what I've had to say in my description over here is history links are at, and I've had to paste a URL in to history, and some about health, and I've had to paste the URL in for the health link as well. So this is a feature that I've actually requested the guys look at, because I really want this in the public collection. I'd like to have my couple of sub collections, along here at the top, actually, if possible. Let's just have a look quickly at what the public shares will look like when you go look at it. And maybe to do that, we can have a look here, because generally this is also how you're going to share it. If you click on that hamburger menu and choose share and collaborate, it gives you a shareable link. The members down here is if you are working with a team or a couple of people that are registered users on your Linkwarden site. You could obviously add them over here. But in this case, and you can see you can also tag it on and off to be a public collection, I'm just going to click over there to copy the link. And we can paste it. And this is what you're going to see if you click on my link that I'm going to be sharing. You'll see there's the description at the top. There are the two URLs that I've given to the sub-collections, but you'll see there's no sub-collections here. You don't see them. You've got some nice options here to sort of search. You could search on, say, technology, and it's going to filter on the technology posts. Or you could also click on, say, one of these tags as well, quickly. Those are all the tags that are present in the collection already. And you can also change what do you actually see. You can change the view, and you can see it's changing at the bottom there to the different options. So there are actually a couple of options, including columns and various other things you can adjust, as well as sort order. So it's actually very, very nice for sharing of links, I think. And of course, you've also got your dark and light mode. And this is quite an interesting option. There's an option here for an RSS feed. So if you were to click on that, it's going to open the RSS feed, and I can show you what it actually looks like in my RSS reader. This is my RSS reader, and you'll see here on the left, it's got public shares. That was the RSS feed that I've subscribed to. And these are the last and the most recent shares that I've actually done. That's how they're going to appear in the RSS feed. And if you click on them, you're going to basically see the links like that. So that is one way of it. Anybody can also subscribe to the RSS feeds to follow your links on Linkwarden. Let's just go back there. Then I think before we go on to the settings and options, because this is just about it really, we can also just show quickly, say, the search up there. If I was to type in, and I should say I haven't done the more detailed searches, but there's actually a syntax that you can do more advanced searching here with the ands and ifs and ors, and search just in title or just in content or whatever the case is as well. So you've got some quite more advanced ways of searching. You'll see not all the pages have got all the types of media saved. So obviously some had a few problems. But like this one, for example, has only got a readable view. If I click on it, it is still there, it's still readable, but it's not showing you the all the other options for PDF and so on. So that is pretty well much it, sort of navigating around the application. I think the other thing that'll be of interest will be just to have a look then at the settings. I should also just say I've got this installed with Docker. I'm not going to go through the Docker Compose file and so on because it was relatively standard. There was no workarounds or any other odd things that I had to do, so it's really not worth explaining anything there, I don't think. We could just have a look at server administration. This is actually just adding users really effectively. So you can search for or add team member users here. There's nothing more over there. What's of interest really probably is more the user settings. So you've got your basic account settings where you can, put a nice photo and a name and so on. What's of interest to many of those, this is now on a per person basis. You can also import from other platforms. So obviously you can import from Linkwarden, from a HTML file, a JSON file, or a zip file. And specifically, Wallabag does export to a JSON. So I use that to import from Wallabag. Omnivore is also covered if it's exported in a zip file format. And you can export to a JSON file. You'll see it's already updating there. Wow, that's pretty quick. I'm only nearly 2,000 links and it's 11.6 megabytes in size. You can delete the account there, and I think what is nice about that, I think that is the user can delete their own account. Just be careful with that because then of course you lose everything. Preferences, I've got it for dark, but I've showed light already. You can also change the highlight, the accent color if you want to. You can decide what's displayed on your dashboard. You can switch off pinned links or recent links if you want to. The archive settings, this is where you say which archives do you want. So if you just want PDF, you can turn all of these off if you want to. If you don't want to send to archive.org, you can turn that off as well. So that's your default settings. What is interesting though is you could also choose or to override those per tag, per custom tag. So if I was to say maybe religion, say, you could for religion choose specific of these to back up or not back anything up if you want to. So, then you just say screenshot that, and it will save it over there for you as a override. So that is also something just worth noticing. And then on link settings, you can also just tell it to prevent duplicate links. It'll at least warn you if you've already imported a link. And then clicking on a link, I mentioned that a little bit earlier when I showed you the link. You can just set what will the default setting be. In my case, I just said go for the open the readable view if it's available. So that's where you'll actually adjust that. The RSS subscription, this is not for your feeds that you are sharing. This is quite an interesting feature. So you can subscribe to somebody's RSS feed and it will bring those posts in and archive them individually as well. So it's sort of a way also even of creating an archive of your own RSS feed if you want to, or of anybody else's RSS feed that you've got. So you can say what collection it's going to go into. You can put it into a specific collection if you want to, and then move those if you want to. But then you can just give it a name and put the RSS feed link in over there. The access tokens is just controlling what third-party apps have got access, whether it's a mobile app or browser or whatever the case is, whatever's logged in, you can log it out over here on the right. You can change your password over there, and you've got a couple of worker options here where you can regenerate or delete or recreate your links up at the top there. So the only other thing I really wanted to show quickly is really how the mobile app actually works. The LinkDroid app. Okay, so if I'm on the News24 site, and this could be anything, you could be looking at a blog, you could be, doesn't matter what, you could be on social media, anything that's got a shareable public link. Normally you see this little share button. So this is how you'd actually do it. You just browse to whatever you want to look at. You'd open the article, and you'd now go look for your share button, which is going to be where? In my case, it'll be probably down here bottom right, and you'll see there I've got the share option. If I say share, you'll see at the bottom of the screen near the bottom right, it says LinkDroid for Linkwarden. That is how it is going to bring up that app to do the share. So if I click on it, there I've got the option. It's put the URL in for me already. There is the name in the middle, and of course I can just go and edit that a little bit if I want to. You can put a description in here, or you can do this later on once you've added it to your Linkwarden. So don't have to worry about it right now if you don't want to. The other thing is it defaults at the moment to I think what you last saved to. So I generally just push my links through to what I call the unread collection. But as I said, you could change it to something else if you wanted to. And if you wanted to add a tag here, you could already put it in there before you say push it. But I prefer to do this actually afterwards when I've got it open on my desktop. So all I'm going to do at this stage is I'm just going to press the push it button, and it's going to push it through to Linkwarden. You'll see at the bottom there it says linked saved. So we can actually now leave this and we can go and have a look back on Linkwarden and see how it came through and what do I see over there. If we now look at Linkwarden, and I could probably just refresh this page, and you're going to see there is the article that I have just sent through from the mobile phone. It's already there and it's already got 2 or 3 of its pages done. Or you could go to unread over there. This is sort of my inbox of stuff that I must still deal with. There the link is as well. So if I was to click on it now, I should get the readable view. There is the readable view. For what it's worth, that is. These are the other formats. It's done the screen saving and it's done a PDF already as well. That's sort of in relatively real time. So yeah, there is the link, but you can still edit it. So if you click on the little hamburger menu and you go to edit, as I said, here you could now go and choose whatever the tags were you wanted to add. And I want to maybe push this through to my, where is it? Public shares. And I want to give it a description over here. Then you could type all that in over there and just say save changes down here on the bottom right. Then it'll save it and it'll push it through to the public shares page and you are done. Or if you wanted to, for example, add a banner here. Remember I said sometimes the banner doesn't pull through here. It hasn't pulled the banner through. It has put the little logo in for the tab, but not the banner really. So those are the options. One last thing I can just quickly show is this is a document. I did upload a document. It was a PDF manual. The only problem with the PDF is it literally stays as a PDF. You'll see it only does a PDF. It doesn't go do a screenshot and various other things. So clicking on this, unfortunately, all it does really is it'll open it up in a PDF viewer for you. That's really all it's going to do. Or inside your, your browser like that. But, that's about really all that it does. So yeah, that is actually pretty well much in a nutshell Linkwarden. I've been using it probably now a good year, I think, or so. I've waited quite a while to do this video just to see if, things that have really bugged me. To be honest, the only thing that still bugs me is this public shares. The fact that on the view that you see now, whoever I've shared to, you are not seeing these sub-collections. That I really would like to have, because to me, it's just more intuitive. I could have all my technology links shared as one link, and then under them I can sort of subcategorize them, or health related or history related or whatever it is. So this is the only thing really that irritates me a little bit at the moment. It's the sort of the one shortcoming. Apart from that, everything else is working beautifully, and I'm actually very, very happy with this. And I know there is Internet Archive there. It's only been unavailable once or twice, to be honest. But you can't arrange your own collections, share your own collections, and sort of do these other things that you could do with Linkwarden. So I think it's still well worth looking at. And as I said, if you can't self-host it yourself, it's maybe worth putting it into Linkwarden's cloud. I mean, if Linkwarden were ever to, heaven forbid, shut down or something like that, I'm sure you could just export your stuff and you could import it into your own self-hosted instance of it as well. So it is well worth keeping track of all your links. It has happened to me quite a few times when I've gone back and I've looked at pages that I've linked to. They've gone. They've just literally disappeared. And what I can actually then do is I can put the link to my Linkwarden preserved file and my social media post is healthy again. Whatever was originally seen or whatever I discussed is still available for people to see. And it does sometimes happen. People do take their pages down, or they've died and the hosting has been shut down or something like that. It really does happen. You're going to find this more and more on the internet. So everybody has got some or other need for Linkwarden or Internet Archive, and having just saved the bookmark is just not good enough anymore, to be quite honest. So thanks for watching. I hope you found some of it of interest, and maybe you are going to try out Linkwarden. You stay safe out there, and I'll see you in my next video.